welcome to Mystics Outlook. We got Cardell Dudley Jr. here, Raymond Lyons, Wilson Tarpe Jr. We're gonna get straight to it. First off, just want to start off by giving our condolences to the family of Nikki McCray Penson after learning of her passing today. Obviously, former WNBA player and collegiate head coach. Again, it was just a tough way to start off today. I'm sure. I know all of us in the group chat. It impacted all of us today when we read that, as I'm sure it did many people. So just wanted to share that first and foremost. The shorthanded misses tonight. They held off the Fever 96-88. It looked like they're going to blow the game open for a while there. That did not happen. Cardell, you were in the building. You walk us through it, please.
One is two things. Too much Sykes and Atkins. For whatever reason, the Fever could not guard them at all throughout the entire game. They both took turns just torching them. Either they was lighting them up from the perimeter or they was getting fouled and getting to the free throw line. So they combined for 56 of the Mystics, 96 points from those two players alone. But the other thing that allowed the Mystics to get a big lead, but then in reverse allowed Indiana to get back in the game was turnovers. The Fever turned the ball over 9 times in the first half, and the Mystics scored 17 points off of them. Then in the second half, they only turned it over, I believe, 3 times. I'm looking at the final tally, 4 times, and they only allowed 19 points. So 4 times and 2 points off those turnovers in the second half. That allowed them to get back in the game. You control the ball, you take care of the ball, good things usually happen. You maintain your possessions, and there's less possessions for the opponent to come back and score on you. Another thing that the Mystics did well was they just suffocated Leah Boston. They didn't really let her get off. She struggled a lot in the first half. She was 1 for 4. She had 7 points, but she was 1 for 4 and had 2 rebounds. Look, she's playing at pretty much an all-star level out the gate as a rookie. So for her to have that in the first half, that just lets you know how devastating that the Mystics team defense overall was. And then once you just, like I said, add in what Atkins and what Sykes was doing scoring-wise, it wasn't much the Fever can hang on. I feel Hall had a good game with her 20 points. Kelsey Mitchell got going in the second from the second quarter on. I think her first bucket was in the second quarter. I was waiting for her to get aggressive. And then Lisa Smith, she got going in the second half. But for the most part, man, the Mystics had their way. They just, like I said, they got a little sloppy in the second half, like towards the end when they felt they had the game wrapped up, and they thought the game was over. And credit the Fever, they kept fighting. They kept battling them, kept getting to the line of Lisa Smith. They kept force feeding them. They was getting points, but for the majority of the game, this was a Mystics game, and it's impressive considering who they had out and who they were facing. Because they coming off a game where, listen, they keep it real, they got dominated inside. It was ugly. So it could have very well went there with the caliber of bigs that the Fever had, even though the difference is the Mystics are at home. So what the Mystics have to do, obviously, outside of getting healthy, is bring this type of intensity defensively, this type of shooting offensively, especially from your top players, bring that on the road. And if they do that, they'll be fine moving forward.
Ray, what did you think about this shorthanded effort from Washington?
That's just a tough win, man. Like Cardell pointed out, like they weren't missing just anybody. They were missing like the top 3 dogs on the team. And and also, yeah, like they just played Dallas and got manhandled inside, and seeing what they were facing tonight in the front court, it was a possibility that could happen again. But they buckled down. And they got their hands dirty. They stuck their nose right in there. Ariel Atkins had 11 rebounds, man. With they're already thin up front. Then with Shakira and Elena out, somebody's gonna have to make up the difference, and that's just impressive, man. Coupled with what she was doing, scoring wise, that's what you want from one of the veterans on your team to step up when when you're shorthanded and your back is against the wall. Brittany Sykes, man, that's just a huge addition for them. She's been consistently contributing since the start of the season. They're happy to have Lee Ming back. You know, couldn't have been more perfect timing. You know, given their the injuries they're having. Just another person to stretch the floor and kind of give them an offensive punch off the bench. But yeah, man, it's just a tough win. You gotta applaud them. You gotta give it up to them for their resiliency, and them able to stick it out because last time they played the Fever, it didn't go their way. So yeah, I'm sure they had that on their mind. Cardell pointed out how the concerted effort to contain the lead Boston because she kind of got loose last game. They bottled her up and shut that water off early. Yeah, and they were able to just maintain control of the game throughout and get the win.
All right, on to player of the game. If nobody had anything else to add, Carter, we'll start with you. Player of the game.
Yeah, I gotta go co-player of the game, Brittany Sykes and Ariel Atkins. So it was just more of the scoring, the leadership. Like Ray said, 11 rebounds from Atkins. If that's not a career high, it's damn sure up there. For a guard to go in there and do that without pretty much just starting front court, that's big time. And Brittany, when I say they can guard her, every time I look up, she was just passing the defender. Like she was just going past them. And I was like, y'all gotta do something, though. Like this getting ugly. Just laying it up. Like it was bad, man. Like they really couldn't do nothing with them, man. So both of them had their moments where they just took over the game and they were just alternating. They was playing tag team, and there was nothing people could do. So I gotta give it to both.
Right.
Yeah, man. My mind was heading there as well. You gotta you gotta give it up to both of them, man. They carried them. 56 points between the two. Then again, Atkins 11 rebounds. With the short-handed front court. So yeah, man. Those two basically held them up and sealed the game for the Mystics.
All right, on the X Factor.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna give it to Lee Ming. She had some big threes in the second half that allowed them to get kind of build on that double digit lead, and plus her defense as well. She more than held up her end on that. She's getting better and better on that end. We all knew she could shoot, but doing stretches, she really held the fort down when they were allowed to build that double digit lead, man. So I gotta give her credit, especially coming off the bench.
Right.
Yeah, man. She's just what they needed. Yeah, like I said, she couldn't have returned at a better time. Um, yeah, because they ran 8 deep tonight, and yeah, and she was huge. She had some key plays and was able to make an imprint on the game.
All right. Next up, Washington is they're on the road, going up to Connecticut, take on the Sun. Tough matchup. We'll see if folks get back in time for that game. That's a tough matchup regardless, whether they're fully healthy or not. We already, Lisa Thomas has been on one all season, so that should be a fun matchup for Washington. And then they return home to take on the Storm. Which again, just gotta love the W. Not a lot of rest in between games. Want to get to it, and thank y'all for tuning in tonight. We'll check in with you guys very